Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are doing a tutorial for this smoked out super fall warm color burgundy lid look. All of the shadows I'm going to be using today are part of the MakeupGeek Autumn Glow bundle that came out recently. I'm not sure that when this video comes out that it'll still be available as a bundle, but the way their bundles work is they just take individual shadows from their whole collection and put them together that you could buy them for a discounted price. So if it's not still available, the individual shades will be available still. And you can pick and choose which ones that you want to get if you don't want to spend all the money to get all of them from the bundle at a regular price. That makes sense, right? Yeah, totally. I'm also going to be using one of my favorite liquid lipsticks and showing you how I do the metallic highlighted Cupid's bow with the ColourPop Ultra Metallics that I've been doing a lot on my Instagram lately. All in all, it's actually pretty simple technique-wise. There's a lot of shadows going back and forth, so hopefully this isn't like a super long video. I'll try to keep it as brief as possible, even though you know me, I can never shut the fuck up. That being said, I'm going to shut the fuck up right now so we can get started and I will show you how I got this look. Okay, to start the look, I already clipped my hair back, I have my base on, I got my brows on. Let's zoom in and start working on the eyes. To start the eyes, I'm going to lay down a transition shade. I'm going to use Peach Smoothie from MakeupGeek on a Sigma E40 tapered blending brush. So I'm going to bring that transition color pretty high up, like almost to the brow, because these shadows are going to be blown out pretty far. So I want to make sure that the transition shade extends past the end of where those shadows are going to live so that it does its job. Because if it's completely hidden under the shadows, it'll still help make the shadows look a little bit richer, but really at the end of the day it ain't going to do that much. I'm also bringing that in pretty close to the nose line because I am going to be extending the smokiness all the way into the nose line. Next, I am going to go in with a crease color to add some depth. This is Sidekick, also from the MakeupGeek Autumn Glow bundle. And I'm going to use it on a Morphe M433 blending brush. I chose this brush to use for the crease area because it's still a blending brush, so it'll still diffuse the color, but it will also pack it on a little bit more precisely so you can get that crease depth going on. And I'm also going to place a little bit of that color on the outer corner of the eye. Okay, now comes that fun lid color. I'm going to grab MakeupGeek Bitten. And I'm going to pick that up on this Elizabeth Mott all over shadow brush. Any bigger, dense shadow brush will be just fine. And I'm going to pack some of that color on and then I'm going to wet it with a little bit of Fix Plus. When you wet this color with Fix Plus, I don't know what happens, but it goes on like magic eyeshadow paint. But then when it dries, you can blend it and it's amazing. I will show you. Stand by. Ooh, I just knocked over everything. Right, I'm just going to place this color from the lash line all the way up into that crease. I mean, look at that. Holy Moses. And I'm bringing this in toward the nose line like I did with the other colors, but I'm going to leave the inner tear duct area pretty bare because I'm going to put another color there at the end. Next, I'm going to pick up that Morphe M433 brush again with the little bit remaining color on it from before without picking up any extra product, and I'm just going to tickle the edges of that in with the Sidekick color that we placed down earlier. Now that I've got most of the most intense shadows, like the red on the top lash line, I'm going to go ahead and conceal underneath my eyes, set that with a powder, and then we can continue the rest of the eye. I concealed underneath my eyes, and I set the immediate under eye area with a brush and some powder. But then I packed on some loose powder on my cheekbones to catch any fallout so that if the red I put underneath my lash line and other dark colors fall down, we can just sweep them away easier later and not ruin our concealer. Before I start working on the lower lash line, I am going to do my waterline so that way we can like work that waterline color into the shadows and blend them all together. For my waterline color and my tightline color, I'm going to be using Anastasia Beverly Hills Dark Side liner. I find that if you close your eye and do it this way, it makes it a lot easier. I'm going to kind of over apply that liner and put it between my lashes on the bottom so that way I can kind of smudge it out into the shadows in a minute. For the lower lash line, I'm going to basically repeat the same steps that I did on the lid, except that I am going to do it a little bit warmer, so I'm going to switch out that Sidekick color for something a little bit more orange, just to get that more vivid punch of color on the lower lash line where it's a little bit more visible. But I am going to go back in again with some Peach Smoothie and start the transition that way as well. And connect it right into the top of your lid. Connect it all. Next, instead of going in with Sidekick, I'm going to grab MakeupGeek Morocco on a Real Techniques shading brush. I'm just going to drag that around the lower lash line, almost all the way into the center, but not quite, and then connect it to the crease. Next, I'm going to grab a little bit more of the color Bitten. This time, I'm going to put it on a Morphe A18 pencil brush. And I'm going to run that along the lower lash line, and I'm going to bring it about halfway into the center so it's a little bit less far in than the orange color that we put down. Again, bringing that around, don't forget to connect it to the lid. Next, I'm going to take a moment to put a little bit of a liquid liner on the top lash line so that I have a base for my falsies. As usual, I'm going to be using Kat Von D Tattoo Liner in Trooper, and I'm just going to make a thin line across the whole top lash line. Now to darken up both the bottom and the top lash line, I am going to grab a dark brown color. This is MakeupGeek Bada Bing, and I'm going to pick that up on this Sigma EO5 brush. I'm going to smudge this dark brown shadow into the lash line on the outer corner of both the top and bottom. For the inner corner highlight, I want something very warm, very intense and metallic, and I'm going to go a little bit ham and make it like a really big inner corner highlight. That's why I left that space open there. To do that, I am going to grab MakeupGeek Magic Act on a Sigma E30 pencil brush. This is my favorite pencil brush for doing a bold inner corner highlight because it does pack the color down really nicely, but it also blends as you do it. I'm going to pack that onto the brush, and then I am again going to wet that with a little bit of Fix Plus. And I'm going to bring it a little bit underneath the lash line as well. I'm going to pick up my Morphe M433 that I used earlier again. I'm not going to add any color to this, but I'm going to utilize the color that's still kind of sitting on the brush from earlier, and I'm going to use that to just buff the very, very edge of that inner corner highlight into the rest of the colors around it. Now that the eyes are pretty much finished, I am going to brush away all the powder underneath my eyes with my new favorite brush. It's the Sigma 3D HD Kabuki brush. It is so nice for getting right under there and sweeping everything away. I also feel like it'll be really good for applying powder underneath the eyes if you need to like get like a really sharp line over here with your powder to clean up the edge of something. Today's not really wing shape, so I didn't do that, but I'm loving this thing so far. Now I'm just going to go off camera for a minute. I'm going to do mascara and apply lashes. Okay, while I was off camera, I also added a little bit of highlight and some blush. And I popped the lashes on. These are the QuinnFace. They are like the longest lashes I've ever worn, but yet somehow magically really comfortable. Not really sure how that works, but they are fantastic. So now that the eyes are done, I really think that the lashes sort of finish this whole look off. Let us move on to the lips. The color I'm going to, or colors rather, because there's two, that I'm going to be using today are the color Ashton from Anastasia Beverly Hills, with a little bit of the Ultra Metallic from ColourPop in the color DM. First, I'm going to apply Ashton all over the lips, and I'm going to overdraw my lips quite a bit today because that's what I did when I did this look and I liked it. you don't like overdrawing your lips, sorry about it, but you don't have to do that part. And I'm going to do that using a lip brush for the outer edges like usual, and then fill in the rest of it with the doe foot applicator. Then with a Real Techniques detailer brush, I'm going to grab that color DM. And I'm only going to take a tiny bit of this on the brush because I'm going to use it just as a highlighter. So I'm going to put it right on my cupid's bow, then I'm going to blend it in with my finger, and then I'm going to put it right in the center of my bottom lip, and I'm going to blend that in too. After I blend it in with my finger, I'm just going to add a little bit more right in the center of where I want that highlight to be, both on the bottom lip and on the cupid's bow. And that is the final look. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to give this tutorial a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Don't forget to follow me on social media because these looks, they all come from my Instagram. I pick the ones that you guys like the most from the week and I recreate them here in these tutorials. So head over there and give me a follow on those if you want to see my daily makeup looks. Cast your little double click vote on what you want to see in next week's tutorial, you know what I mean? I am at Ms. QuinnFace there on Instagram. I'm also at Ms. QuinnFace on Snapchat and on Twitter. You guys can follow me on Twitter if you would like to chat about things. Let's talk about makeup. Or on Snapchat if you just want to see me live my little life and go about my business and, you know, behind the scenes and all that kind of crap. Everything will be linked down below as usual. There'll also be a link below with a blog post of all of the product details of this look from top to bottom, as well as photos of the most popular makeup looks from my Instagram this week and full product list for those as well. Basically everything that you could possibly have a question about would be down below in the description. And after that, we're all done. So I will see you next week. Bye. Transition. I'm going to use it on an focus on my brush, man. The brush and ow, those were push pins.